Jordan and Jane learned to open their heart. Jordan was walking home on a nice warm day after school with her mother Charlotte, skipping and singing. Her mother enjoyed watching her bright, caring, and happy personality with a big smile on her face. Jordan could tell something was wrong that day because her mother wasn't smiling as she normally does. That afternoon, Charlotte looked very worried, and Jordan asked her, "What's wrong, Mommy?" Charlotte says in return, "Sweetheart, I really don't want to upset you, but your dad got a new job and we have to move." Jordan started to cry and said, "Why?" Charlotte says, "Let's go home and talk about it with your siblings and dad all together." Jordan says, "Okay," with big tears in her eyes. Jordan and Charlotte walked home very quietly, which was very unusual for them. Jordan arrives home with her mom. She's very sad, which isn't at all like her. She goes into her room and sits on her bed thinking about how bad she's going to miss her friends that she grew up with. Even though Jordan is in the 3rd grade, she has always been very smart for her age. She knows that moving to a new place and starting with new friends will be very hard. In the meanwhile, Charlotte makes dinner. Jordan, who loves to help her mother in the kitchen, decides to stay in her room until her father gets home from work. When Jordan's father, Frank, arrives home from work, Charlotte immediately explains to him the situation of how upset Jordan is over the move. So he goes immediately upstairs to his little girl's room to talk to her about it. When Jordan sees her daddy, she says, "Daddy, why do we have to move?" Frank answers her immediately and says, "I got a new job offer that pays more money, mija," meaning daughter in Spanish. So I can afford to buy more things for you, your brothers, your sister, and Mom. Jordan replies to her father, "I understand, Daddy, but I sure will miss my friends." Frank tells her, "Well, you can meet new friends, and you can still write to your old friends." So Jordan decides to accept it for her parents' sake, the move. However, her brothers, Sam and Frankie, and sister Marietta, aren't at all upset because they know they can still see their friends. Today was moving day, and it was going to be a very hard day for Jordan, as she has to say goodbye to her old friends, and was moving to a new neighborhood across town. Although Jordan was upset, she was also excited to see her new room after they packed up the old house. With tears in her eyes, she waves goodbye to her friends, leaving in her mom's car along with her sister, while her brother Frankie and Sam went with her father in the moving truck. Jordan is very excited when her mom pulls up to the new house before the rental truck gets there. Jordan is very desperate for her mom to open the door to the new house so she can see her room. Charlotte shows Jordan the room, and she starts dancing with her pug dog Shadow with excitement for having a new room. Charlotte is very pleased to see Jordan in a happy mood in the new house. Once the rental truck arrived at the house, everyone pitched in to help unpack the truck. Sam, Frankie, Meredith, and Jordan were very happy with their rooms, and they had set them all up. At the end of the day, all the kids were settled in their rooms. Frank was finishing cleaning up the garage, and Charlotte was tidying up the kitchen so they could get ready to make dinner. It all turned out to be a great day, and at the end of the weekend, everything was set up and put away. It's a very beautiful Sunday afternoon, and Jordan gets permission to go outside and play. Jordan lays a blanket in the grass so she doesn't get itchy from it, and sits down and plays with her Barbies. She starts daydreaming about what it would be like to go to a new school and meet new friends, and it started making her nervous. It also made her very sad because she was missing her old friends. Soon, a little girl comes up to her and says, "Hi, my name is Jane. I'm your next door neighbor." Jordan gets all excited and asks her, "You want to play Barbies with me?" Jane says, "I have a lot of Barbies at my garage that my dad made into a playhouse. You want to go over there?" And Jordan tells her, "I'll have to ask my mom first, but that would be great." So they head off to ask Charlotte. Jordan and Charlotte go to Jane's house. Jane runs inside her house to get her mother Mika and her two sisters Anne and Sally. Jordan introduces her mom Charlotte to Mika, while Anne and Sally are looking pretty confused at Charlotte because of the way she's walking and wondering why her head is leaning to the side. Jordan and her mother decide to explain to the girls the reason why she looks funny. So they tell them about her disability. Charlotte is very pleased to see what a wonderful little family Jane has. Micah says, "My husband's at work right now, but I'm sure he would love to meet your family too." Charlotte answers, "My husband Frank is at work as well, with my stepson Frankie who's helping him. And my stepdaughter Marietta is at our friend's house helping them. And our son Sam is giving me a hand cleaning the house." So Mickey suggests, "We should do a little barbecue to welcome you to the neighborhood." Charlotte accepts the offer and says, "That sounds like a wonderful idea." Mickey made plans with Charlotte for the next Saturday. Jane tells Jordan, "Would you like to hang around me at school? I can introduce you to my friends." On Monday morning, Charlotte answers the door. It's Jane, wanting to know if she and her sisters can walk with Jordan to school. Right away, Jordan says, "Yes!" and runs to the door and pleads for her mom to let her go with them. Charlotte is happy to walk the girls to school. She is so happy to see the joy in Jordan's heart. Micah kisses her daughters and thanks Charlotte with a sweet smile for walking them to school. Jordan and Jane were in 3rd grade, while her sisters were younger in 1st and 2nd grade. Jordan, Jane, Sally, and Anne all live near the school, so Charlotte, as well as Mika, would walk them to and from school. Mika decided to join Charlotte today to go pick up the girls from elementary. Now, Charlotte didn't have to worry about Marietta, Frankie, or Sam, because they were all in high school, and they would take the bus, or sometimes use their father's old car. Every day the girls would smile, laugh, and sing all the way home from school. Their mothers enjoyed watching them be so happy. The following Saturday, Mika, Charlotte, John, Frank, Jordan, Sam, Sally, and Anne were very excited about the barbecue party. Marietta and Frankie weren't able to come because they had school activities that they had to go to. So Frank, John, Mickey, and Charlotte were preparing all kinds of food for the barbecue. While Frank and John were cooking the meat, Mika made little donation cans for the girls to walk around the neighborhood collecting money for families struggling with little money for Christmas. Mika explained to Charlotte and Jordan why they do this 3 times a year. Jane tells Jordan about a kid at school called David, whose parents are struggling to survive with little money because their daughter has cancer. Jordan feels bad for David, but she has mixed feelings because David isn't nice to her. So she says, "When someone is nice to me, I don't like to help them." Mika takes Jane and Sally, Jordan, and Charlotte to the neighborhood collecting donations and explains to them why it's so important. Mika tells Charlotte she's experienced some really hard times before she was married to John. She was a prisoner at the Japanese concentration camp for 3.5 years while helping through the Red Cross. Then, she says, "I met John. He was the love of my life. We had children after we got married. We're both Dutch," she tells Charlotte. She also tells Charlotte, We love to have friends over. We enjoy their company. We have an open door policy, and we have friendly parties for everyone. We love to share and be compassionate to others. We are raising our daughters to do the same and to live with open hearts. While listening to Mika closely speak about opening your heart, Jordan and Charlotte are learning the true meaning of opening the heart. Mika says, "Life is full of challenges. It doesn't matter how big of a challenge it is. Your first instinct is to close your heart off when something hurts you deeply. But if you keep it open and you accept what's happened to you and you reach out and help others, then you will live with an open heart. And when you have an open heart, love will always find its way in." Sally and Anne ask Jordan what she thinks about what their mom says. Jordan's answer is, "I'm going to live with an open heart. Your mom is so right." Charlotte and Jordan both agree that they are going to share what they have learned with their family members in their own household. After a long day of collecting donations from their neighborhood, the girls head off to Mika's house, where Frank and John were in charge of the barbecue. Minutes later, Sam joins them. Mika and Charlotte gather all the money from their donations and place in an envelope to be dropped off on Monday for the Salvation Army organization for families in need. After the barbecue, all four girls are playing in the garage. Mika and Charlotte sit down after cleaning up to have a discussion on when they're going to take the girls out next to collect money for Christmas for needy families. Charlotte tells her family, "I think it's time to go. It's quite late, and Meredith and Frankie will be home soon from their school activities." So Charlotte, Frank, Sam, and Jordan say thank you to Jane's parents for the wonderful time they had at the barbecue, and they head home. After a long, fun day at Jane's house, Jordan is very tired, and she's getting ready to get in bed. Same applies for everybody else. They're exhausted, so they're heading to bed early. Charlotte and Frank tuck Jordan into bed, and she says, "It was the best day ever. Jane, Sally, and Anne are super nice. I'm glad they are my friends." It's Monday morning, and Jordan's siblings are off to catch the school bus. Charlotte and Mika walk the girls to school. Frank works with large equipment as a supervisor, and John is a doctor. After dropping the girls off at school, Mika goes over to Charlotte's after she invites her for a cup of coffee. The moms start making plans for the girls to go around the neighborhood and collect donations, maybe next Saturday, for the families in need. Mika says goodbye to Charlotte after a while and goes home to do some housework, plus other things. At school, Jordan is playing on the playground with Jane, playing on the jungle gym, when David comes over to tease them, especially Jordan, because he knows how upset she gets. Jordan tells Jane, "I'm going to tell my mommy, so David stops being mean to me." Jane tells Jordan, "You should just ignore him and then he'll stop." After school, on the way home, Jordan tells her mom and Mika about it, and they both tell her not to get upset and just ignore him, just like Jane said. So Jordan tells them that she will try. That night, the phone rings at home. It was the hospital saying her daddy Frank got hurt at work, and nobody was home to watch Jordan. So Charlotte dropped Jordan off at Mika's house and headed off to the hospital. Jordan was very worried about her daddy, but her mommy explained that the hospital wasn't a good place for little kids, so she would have to stay at Jane's house. Mika and the girls tried to comfort Jordan because she looked so sad and scared. Jordan's father, Frank, is told by his doctors that he needs to have some time off of work for the next 3 weeks. Money is very short now. Charlotte, Mika, and the girls finish collecting donations throughout the neighborhood for low-income families for Christmas. After 3 weeks, Frank goes back to work. At this time, Charlotte realizes that she needs to prepare her kids for a tight Christmas. Jordan gets very sad at night after hearing her mom talk about Christmas. It was their favorite time of the year. The next day, Jordan and Jane and 2 other girls are playing on the swings at school. David comes up to them to play, but this time he seems very sad, which is very unusual for him. Jordan isn't herself either. Jane can see both of her friends are very sad, so she decides to try to cheer them up by making them laugh. Jordan starts laughing at Jane's performance. However, David isn't laughing at all. He is just sitting there looking very sad. Jordan and Jane ask him what's wrong. "David, what's wrong?" Finally, David speaks up and says, "My sister is very sick. We're all very sad. And we're not going to be able to have Christmas because of all the medical bills. And my dad can't even afford to buy food. I overheard him at night tell my mom that he couldn't buy food until his next paycheck. I don't know what my family's going to do." While walking home from school, Jane, her sisters, and Jordan make a plan to find a way to help David's family out. Mika and Charlotte overhear the girls, which makes them smile with pride. Once at home, the 4 girls sit down with their mothers to talk about how they can help David's family. Mika sits down with all 4 girls along with Charlotte to discuss it. Jordan tells Mika that David has been really mean to her, which made her dislike him. But now she understands why he does what he does, and she wants to help him. With the girls sitting down next to Mika, they are listening to her explain once again what having an open heart really means. In the meantime, Charlotte is watching the expressions on all their faces, especially Jordan's, who is new to the subject of opening your heart, and her heart is warming watching it. Mika tells the girls, always reach out to others, because you may think your struggles are really bad, but somebody else may have worse struggles than you, and you can really help another person. After talking to the girls, Mika feels bad that David and his family don't have enough money for Christmas presents or food. Jordan knows how she feels about David, but wants to help his family. Jordan and Jane decide to be extra nice to David from that day forward. The next day, while playing on the playground at school, Jordan stands there with her one arm up in the air, trying to get David's attention by waving her arm. She starts to say, "David! David! Over here! Do you want to come join us on the jungle gym area? We would love to have you." From that day forward, Jordan shows David a lot of kindness, and they became good friends. On Christmas Eve, the mothers took the girls shopping so they can buy gifts for David's family. After gathering food and presents, everybody got in Mika's car and drove to David's house. The look on David's family's face was priceless when receiving the gifts. Jordan tells Mika and her mom she's really lucky for having Jane as her best friend. Then she tells Mika she now understands the meaning of having an open heart and how she can reach out to others and help them. Jordan and Jane hug each other with big, huge smiles on their faces. Jordan's family is grateful for Jane's family for teaching them how to live with open hearts. Charlotte was thrilled about moving next door to Mika's house because they're such an amazing family with a heart of gold. Most importantly thing of all is Jordan is living with an open heart, and she tells Mika that she wishes everybody would live life with an open heart. This is Mika and John Frankenberg and their daughter Jane Seymour, who started the original Open Heart meeting. Hi everyone, this is Charlotte Lozano. I'm the author and illustrator. I really hope you enjoy.